What's going on, fellas? So today I'm going to give you some tips on how to keep your masculine frame inside of a long-term relationship and or marriage. These are going to be 5 things that you should never do with your woman when you're in a relationship. Now, if your woman has burning desire for you, genuine burning desire for you, or at least she loves you, this is how you know. And this is the only time you should be taking a woman serious for a relationship. I've said this many times and it's been proven time and time again. A woman's natural essence is to be in a relationship, is to be with one man, to fall in love, have kids, so on and so forth. Now, does every woman follow this game plan? Hell no, G, especially in today's world. But naturally, that's what women want to do. So if you get with a woman and she loves you, she is going to want to pursue the relationship. At least that's her job. So what that means is that's not your job. So this goes along with you keeping your masculine frame. Guys, this was a bonus. This is not on the list, but I'm going to give you this one first. There is nothing wrong with pursuing a relationship with a woman, but there is a problem when you care more about the relationship than she does. Because as a man, naturally, you should be focused on what? Your purpose. All right. So the reason why I'm telling you this is because this is going to relate to a lot of the stuff I'm telling you today. All right, guys. So take notes. Pay attention. Number 1, never let your woman force you to marry her. Now, I've already given my opinion on the video on how I feel about getting married in today's world. I don't think there's anything wrong with marriage. I believe in marriage. I believe in love. I got a lot of passion, So when I get with a woman, I love hard, man. I love deep. This is why I don't trust people. Because once you break my heart, I'm ready to crash out. Because I'm like, man, you could have left me alone. You know what I'm saying? So I believe in marriage. I believe in love. But in today's world, it's not really a good idea. But this is the thing. Fellas, remember I said, if a woman loves you and she has burning desire for you, she will intensely pursue the relationship. But what you should never do is let her force you to marry her. I've been in this situation before, and guys, don't fall for it. Now, luckily, I didn't fall for it, and I'll tell you a quick story, a personal story, which is really funny, but never let a woman force you to marry her. Guys, the reason why is because this takes you out of your frame. Why? Because this is you going along with her program. Now, will this end up turning into something bad? Usually it does. Probability says it does. All right, but I'll give you a story. I've never been married before, but I got to a point with a chick and I was about this close to proposing to her. So I was on the phone with one of my homeboys, and while I was on the phone with one of my homeboys, my girl was in the kitchen and I was in the other room and I was on my laptop looking for a ring because I was about to propose. Now, fellas, this was before I fully red pilled. Now, let me say this. I always got to give disclaimers before somebody jump off the deep end. I do not identify as one of these OD'd alpha male red pill dudes. All right? I identify as a chair. But every man, I believe, if he's not born with it or raised with it, gets to a point to where he opens his eyes and he starts to understand the world. And he sees the world differently. Basically, the truths and the lies about the world. And he takes it for what it is and he lives his life as a man. So that's what red pill means. But before I got red pilled, I was on my laptop looking for a ring, right? So I ended up actually buying the ring. Now, there's some crazy shit that happened, I was telling my homeboy about it on the phone as I'm buying the ring. And the whole time he telling me, bro, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. I'm like, you tripping. Really, you hating right now. I'm doing it anyway. So I click purchase, right? So there it's done. It's about 2 weeks till the ring will come in. I'm waiting on it. I'm getting my proposal speech ready and everything, Lo and behold, I wake up in the morning and I go and look to get the tracking number so I can make sure it come on time. And it said my order was declined. Now, the whole time I'm scratching my head because I had about 3 times of the amount of the ring in my account, So the funds wasn't insufficient. So I'm trying to figure out what the fuck going on. So I'm calling my bank. Whole time my bank blocked the transaction because I never made a purchase that high. I sat back and I thought about it. I was like, that's a sign. All right, that's a sign. And I guarantee you, I was not trying to reorder that ring. Now, the reason why I told you this story is because I am so glad that order got declined. Because if it didn't, I would have been in a situation that most guys in, because the only or the primary reason why I was ordering that damn ring is because the chick I was with was forcing me to marry her. By the way, we was only together for 6 months. G, I'm being vulnerable right now, guys. I'm telling y'all my sins, all right? Fellas, never let a woman force you to marry her. There are countless amount of men who are unhappy right now because they stayed with a woman who coerced him into marrying her. Most men have been manipulated into getting married by either force or threat. The woman either forced him and pressured him and kept asking him to marry her over and over, and because he loved her, he simped out and made the decision. Now he regretted, or now he's in a divorce machine, whichever one. Or she threatened him and said, if you don't marry me, I'ma leave. Or if you don't marry me, I'ma take the kids and leave. Or whatever the situation is. But G, if you want to keep your frame, we can talk about boundaries all you want, but if you want to keep your frame, never let a woman force you to marry her, because this is basically you going with her program. If you marry a woman, which I'm not going to tell you not to do, I just won't do it. But if you marry a woman, make sure it's your decision. Yes, it can be hers too, but it needs to be yours as well. And it needs to be coming from a good source, not a scarcity source. And you putting a ring on this woman because you think that's the only way you're going to get her to stay. No, G, actually, that's more likely she gonna leave if you put a ring on, all right? Statistics show. Now, speaking of force, all right, this is something you never let her make you do, and this is something you never do. Now, guys always talking about setting boundaries, which I always recommend you set boundaries, all right, G? But this is something you never do along with boundaries. You never force rules or respect. All right, you never force rules on a woman, and you never try to force respect from a woman. There's a difference between trying to force rules and trying to force respect, or enforcing rules and earning respect. It's a fine line between the two, because there's a saying and it goes as follows: if she doesn't comply, then goodbye. And you should live by this saying for the rest of your damn life. And say it with your chest when you say it, all right, G? But you never try to force rules on a woman. Gee, if she don't want to follow your rules, if she is not open to your rules, she may be foreign to it. She may not be used to it. You may have to sit her down and discuss with her why your rules are better than the current rules she's actually used to. And that's okay. Gee, sometimes you got to go through a little bit of dialogue with a woman. And guys, you know I always tell you not to argue with a woman. So this is number 3, and I'm going to combine these 2 points. I'm not done with 2, but this is number 3. Obviously, don't argue, and I'm going to talk about this in a different way than I have before. But guys, never argue with her, but sometimes you got to sit down and talk to her. I'll give you an example of a conversation where you might need to have some dialogue instead of arguing with your chick or immediately kicking her out. Let's say you come home late from work. You told her you're going to be home about 10 p.m., but you actually come home about 12. And this used to happen to me a lot when I was a finance manager and I was dating this chick. We used to get off at 9 p.m., but as a finance manager, sometimes you get home at midnight because the last customer don't come into the dealership until 15 minutes before the store closed, but you got to stay and sell a car, right? So you don't get home until about midnight. So one day, this is my story, and I'm giving you the example at the same time. So one day I come home strolling in about midnight. Now, I didn't text her and let her know I was going to be home late because that ain't my job. What's my job? To make my money, and I ain't got time to be texting because I'm talking to customers. There's a difference if I got time, but I ain't got time. I'm talking to customers. So I get home about 12:15. She clicked the light on like in the movies. Y'all know like the moms in the movies when they sitting on a little love seat and they click the light on when a little boy walk in the house. I felt like a teenager. G, I walk in the house, she clicked the light on like, where you been? I'm like, baby girl, I'm working. You know my job. You know I'm doing my thing. I'm working. What you sitting there looking all mysterious for? And she just flipped, G. You told me you was going to be home at 9:30 and it's 12:15. I'm like, baby, calm down, relax. Can you sit down, please, like you yelling at the top of your lungs? It's the neighbors next door. Now, mind you, G, it depends on the situation. At the time, she ain't never used to crash out like that. But she was mad because we had some other shit going on. So that's one thing. I gave her a pass. Now, I'm not going to argue with her, and I do have boundaries. Don't raise your voice at me, and don't be checking me about what time I get home. But at the same time, you got to understand she's a woman. So if you want her to follow your rules, which is don't be checking me about time, and also respect you, which is don't be raising your voice in my house, sometimes you got to talk to her. Don't force it, but enforce it. So what I did was I said, baby girl, sit down, relax. Now, for future references, please don't raise your voice in my house. You can do that shit somewhere else. I don't mind you raising your voice, just not up in here and not at me. And for 2, sometimes I'm going to get home late. I know you don't understand it because you don't work like me, but guess what? It's part of the job. Sometimes I get home late, sometimes I won't. Sometimes I'll be able to text you, sometimes I won't. It is what it is. Now, if you can't handle that, just tell me right now. But I'm not going to put you caring about what time I get home from work over my job and the shit I got to do. And she sat there and thought about it for like 7 seconds and apologized and told me she wasn't going to trip about me getting home late anymore. So respect and rules. I didn't have to force it, but I did have to stop and enforce it. Now, there will be times where this dialogue is a little bit more extensive. Like she might have some questions. If she get to the point where y'all arguing, then you stop it and then kick her out. It's easy. Keep your peace, G. But at the same time, you may have to go a little bit back and forth sometimes. See, some of you guys, like I said, got this red pill thing fucked up. There's a difference between forcing and enforcing rules. And there's a difference between arguing and having some dialogue. Sometimes it needs to be had. Like I said, women are critters, but they're humans. All right, G? So that was number 2 and number 3. Basically, don't force rules and don't try to force her to respect you. You can't make a woman respect you because even if she does by force, she'll also do this. She'll resent you. All right, G, and a lot of shit comes after that. And it's not really comfortable for you or her when she's doing shit out of resentment. And she feels like she's strained to do it, like she have to do it versus her wanting to do it and having the desire to do it. And because she your girl and she's supposed to, all right? Now we talked about rules. Let's talk about number 4. Next one, never let her make, this is you keeping your frame, G. Never let her make rules, rules for you. Now, first we talk about you not trying to force rules on her. Now we're talking about you not letting her make rules for you. All the betas, all the simps, all the feminists, all the weirdos, all the clowns, you're not gonna like this because there's a lot of men, and I find this crazy, G. God, there's a lot of men who believe that women should lead the relationship. And then you wonder why you have the problems you have. And I find it funny that every single man, G, if he lives long enough, every single man who agrees with the notion that women should make rules in a relationship and women should lead the relationship, and men that say dumb shit like women are better leaders than men, all those men always get to a point in their life where they end up getting wrecked and then they come on the dark side. And then they red pill. Every single one. So your time is coming, G, if you a beta and you don't agree with me on point number 4. All right, but you never let a woman, G, because the game doesn't change. A lot of guys say, well, it's different from dating than in a relationship. The game doesn't change. It's different levels. So just how you don't let a woman that you dating make rules for you, same rules applies in a marriage or in a long-term relationship. She still doesn't make the rules. Now, if you don't have a game plan or a program, you can't expect her to be feminine and submissive and get on your program and follow your rules. But if you're a masculine man and you about your business and you have a program, you make the rules. G, is how it goes. And if you don't agree with me, do this. Take your right hand, put it between your legs, and grab your nuts. All right, G, and then let them hang, bro. Seriously, man. That's why I'm making these videos, G, because I see so many men who are either depressed, stressed out, and pissed off because they let somebody convince them that women should lead the relationship. Women are great for a lot of things, but not for leading a relationship, because anytime, pay attention, anytime a woman leads a relationship, or a lot of things for that matter, but we're not going to get into that. But anytime a woman leads a relationship, she leads it to hell. Straight up, G. I'm keeping it real with you. Last one. This is the most important one. And that's why I saved this for the end. Because this is one of the main reasons why men not only lose their frame in relationships, but they also lose the desire that the woman had for him. Also the attraction, the arousal, the spark, the flame, the thrill, everything under the fucking moon. Why? Because he stops improving. All right, G, one thing you should never do if you do anything else is you should never stop working on yourself. Now, this is the mistake that most men make. They get with a woman and they think that they have to change. There's a difference between changing and improving. There's also a difference between changing and changing for the better. And what I mean is changing for her and changing for the better. Because if you get with a woman and she's a good quality woman and she notices a character flaw in you and she make you aware of it, and you can look in the mirror to be honest and humble and say, okay, G, I'm fucking up in that area. I appreciate my girl for noticing it. Let me get better. Changing for the better, that's different. But if you're changing for her because she don't like something about you and you want to do something to get her validation or approval, we ain't doing that. But never stop improving. So don't change because obviously she with you for a reason or she got with you for a reason. But the problem is guys change not for the better, but they change for her and they stop improving. They stop working on themselves. They stop going to the gym. They stop reading. They stop working. They stop pursuing their goals. They stop hanging out with their friends. They stop working on game. They drop all their sexual options, which is controversial. It depends on where you are in a relationship and your actual goals. You know, whether you marry, got kids, and so on and so forth. But they do all this stuff thinking is gonna raise his morale with the woman, and all it does is drops it, G. You're going backwards. So what you do is you stay the man who you are, but you improve on that foundation. You just take the blueprint that you already got and you build on that. Not even for the woman, but for the better, for you. All right, G, so you never stop improving at all under any circumstance, because even if she leaves, which most women do, check the stats, all right, G? So even if she leaves, you still have that foundation, all right, G? Y'all know the quote about the garden and the butterflies, never focus on the butterflies and chase the fucking butterflies, because all they do is fly the fucking way and you never actually catch one. But if you build a beautiful garden, you will attract the butterflies, and even if you don't, or even if they come and stay for a little bit, you still got a garden, so you'll always attract butterflies. And even if you don't, you got a fucking garden to lay in, G. All right, that's the fucking point. So never stop improving. I don't care who the woman is, how much you like her, how good the box is, it don't matter. And you never let a woman stop you from improving. A lot of men let women influence them that their goals are too big, or they doing too much, or they staying out too late, or they working too hard, or they getting up too early. Gee, this is why women leave, because they get with you and you're the man she wants, but they convert you to Billy, the beta. Don't do it, all right? Never stop improving, all right, fellas? So I appreciate you guys for tuning in today. I hope you got a lot out of this one. Share this with a homeboy that this will help out. It's your boy, KD. We out of here, baby.